Hey guys, my name's Kia. I run Here for a Good Time online plant business and I sell locally. Today, I last time mentioned how I have these hanging baskets that just look completely sad and dead, but we're gonna try to save at least some of it. These are my string of things. So Ceropegia woodii, and I'm not really sure if I'm saying that right, but string of hearts, string of glory, variegated string of hearts, string of spades, string of needles, the list goes on. I don't really know what happened, but they got a little neglected. And I'm pretty sure that it's basically a goner. However, there are a bunch of little rhizomes in here, most of which are also probably goners, but we're at least gonna try. We're gonna see if we can't find any that might still look plump enough to push back down into the pot. I'm not gonna lie, this one doesn't look very promising, but I think we're gonna try anyways and just bury some of it and just see what happens. I do have an ongoing list of plants that I'm keeping track of every single month all the way through December of this year to just see the progress and what it looks like by the end of the year. So hopefully maybe this will be one of those miracle ones that looks better. We do have a living rhizome in here, and I know because if you look here, we do have one singular little strand of, I don't know, I think this one is actually string of needles. So it's alive. There's just not much in here that is. I'm gonna start by taking these out. I use these little pins to kind of wrap the vines around inside of the pot, and then I use these to pin them down so they don't go anywhere. So I got this one little singular vine, look at that. It's hanging on for dear life too. Pretty proud of it, not gonna lie. But we're just gonna go ahead and pull this out. See, this just came right out. It's all dead. Like literally all dead. Okay, look at this here. So we have our vine with our singular rhizome right here. If you keep looking and you dig a little more, look at that. I'm just kind of gently dig it out because I'm not sure how deep it goes. I don't know how big it is. I really don't want to end up cutting any of it, breaking it or anything like that. Okay. Oh, look at that. We got a nice fresh looking rhizome. So this one's clearly a newer one. Here's the old one up top. All right, there's our other rhizome. So I mean, the plant's not a goner. It's just a bit sad. So kind of dig in here a little bit and see if there's anything else. It's kind of like with alocasia, you have your corms underneath in the soil. And so you never know if there's gonna be more rhizomes or not. I don't think there are, but I wanted to check just in case. Probably won't go too far down and check that much, but so here we are. It looks like we have 3 rhizomes. I'm pretty excited about that. I think that's plenty. Okay, so what we're gonna do is take some of the soil out. It's pretty dusty right now too. It needs to be, needs some water for sure. And we're just gonna bury these 3 back in here. We've got the dead stuff, right? So again, I really don't think that any of this is living, but I think just in case, I'm gonna pick some of these little baby rhizomes off and just sort of throw them in there. And if something sprouts from them, that would be so cool, but I kind of doubt it. But we're gonna, you know, why not? Let's just try it out anyways. I have, I don't know, like 3 or 4 more pots of this type of plant that I am gonna have to do this to, and I need to relabel them. So I'll probably bust out some labels here in a minute too. It's like the color of my hair if my hair was dingier. Oh my God. I'm letting my hair grow out again. As you can see, I'm naturally a brunette. Surprise. I've been a blonde on and off for the last like 10 years, and there's nothing wrong with that. I love being blonde. But I kind of want to go back to my natural roots. I'm, believe it or not, starting to get gray hairs, and I don't want to turn fully gray and not get to enjoy my natural hair color again. So not that I'm gonna turn fully gray anytime soon, but still. Okay, so I think that's all I'm gonna do. I pulled several out of here. Oh, take that one too. And I tried to just get like mostly the big ones that I saw. So now we have our basket with our little rhizomes in there. And we're gonna take the soil that I took off the top and we're just gonna throw that back in, okay? And then we are gonna add some fresh soil to this as well. Throw the fresh soil on the top, it looks pretty good. I'm gonna take the little vine that's left over and I'm just gonna wrap it around in here. And then here in a minute, when I'm done with the rest of these, I will give it a drink of water. Our next one is the string of arrows. So the last one was my string of arrows, which is essentially just string of spades. This one is my Ceropegia woodii Silver Glory. So this one you can see right off the top already has 2 massive rhizomes just sitting here. And I think, yeah, there's more underneath. So I'm gonna go ahead and just dig that out. Most of this is, again, dead, as you can see. There's really not much there. So this does have 1 live string still, and look at the little babies. And then after my string of glory, I think I actually only have 1 left. No, 2. A variegated string of hearts, and then I have this one over here. This is my variegated string of spades. So that one actually has outlived all the rest, although I got it way later than the rest of them. So I'd say these ones really aren't doing too bad considering how long I've had them for. But this guy over here, I love this one, and I really don't want it to die. All the strings are mostly still alive. There's a couple dead ones, but we're just gonna go ahead and repot it anyways and wrap the strings around on the inside and cover them so they can sprout more. So we'll do this one first though. Yeah, this is crazy. Look at this root ball. I am actually really curious to know how many rhizomes are in this root ball. So I think I'm just gonna break it up anyways because I just want to know. I'm not going to do it too much, but wow, I think the magic number seems to be 3 because I think all of mine have had 3 so far. So yeah, here it is. So this one is our variegated string of spades, as you can see here. Look how pretty that is. So I only found 1 seller for it, and that doesn't mean that there's not more. There was just one at the time when I was looking that I could find, and fortunately I asked in a very large United States group of plant sellers, and somebody was like, oh, I bought mine from so-and-so, you can see if he has more. And he did, and so I bought one. I think that was literally like a whole year ago. So, so far, it's been real stringy. It's grown long, but it's not real full. So we're gonna pull the dead out of it, and then we will wrap it back around like we've done the others and give it some fresh soil because it's actually missing about 1 inch to 2 inches of soil on the top. I'm not sure why, it just is. I guess it just gets so compacted down. So, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Here's the reason to check your stuff, because sometimes when you get it from a grower, they've grown their corms or their cuttings inside of these little wraps. At some point, this is kind of do a number on, if you can see this, it's that material. And you see how it pulled roots off with it. So obviously the roots are dry, it needs to be watered regardless. It's not doing well, that's my fault. However, I also have not repotted this plant in a year or more since I bought it. So you see all that? Those were all roots that were on that. The issue is that eventually, as it's growing, sometimes the roots are strong enough to bust through that and it's fine. And, you know, maybe I didn't care for this as well as I should have, obviously. I do have over 300 plants, so some things do get missed. But as you can see, it's still in this tiny little shape and the roots are still really small. And I just feel like it doesn't get as much room to grow when they're grown in these little material, I don't know what they're called. I'll have to see if I can't find the word and throw it up here on the screen. I don't know if there's any corms in this, so we're just going to throw it back in here just in case. But yeah, it's looking pretty rough. And again, I take full responsibility for that. My Strings of Things did take quite the hit over the last couple months, so that is my fault. But I do try to avoid growing anything in those types of little mesh material because it just, a lot of people, even myself, don't always check for several months what they're grown in. And if it's grown in mesh, it just doesn't always turn out very well. If you're like me, you have a ton of plants, you don't always repot them in the first 4 months of getting them home. So for me, it's just a personal preference. Not saying that they're bad. I just don't think that the material breaks down very well. Not enough to want to grow my stuff in it or to grow things that I'm going to sell to others. And again, it's to each their own. It's definitely personal preference, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I just personally do not care for it very much. Just gonna throw that one down in there because it broke. And then we're gonna take all of this. See how long this is? It's just very stringy. But look at that. See if you can see these. Look how cute those are. Nice and variegated. Very pretty. I really don't want to let this one die because it wasn't super cheap. And I think it's really cool to have the variegated string of things. I think those ones are probably my favorite. And also because majority of the strings of things aren't variegated, at least not from what I've found. So I love having one that's a little more unique than the rest. Okay, so I'm just gonna take this and wrap it around inside of this little basket here. Okay, so I got a couple layers of soil for this one. Be kind of careful. And I'm just gonna take some more of it, wrap it around on the inside, and then I'll take a couple of my pins, pin them down in there so it doesn't go anywhere, just like that. And then I'll probably put a little bit more soil on the top and call it good. And there we go. It looks real sad still, but there's lots of vine underneath of that soil. So hopefully once we start watering, giving it a lot of sunlight and warmth, it's gonna flourish and start popping out everywhere. Okay, and the very last one that we have that I need to do is my variegated string of hearts. And I'm not really looking forward to it because it's in this cute little macrame hanger. And it's pretty thin on the top. You can see all the little vines hanging out, a few leaves up top, but it's pretty bare up there. But as it goes down, it gets a lot thicker. And so I have a handful here, but half of it's kind of dead. You can sort of see the dead vines throughout the live ones. And it goes all the way to the floor, but the other day I was cleaning, and so I wrapped it back up and around, and it got stuck right here. So as you can see this, so that'll be my last one to do. Okay, so here's the last one. We have our variegated string of hearts, and it is very long, as I showed you, but it's tangled up in this cute little macrame hanger. And I was checking it out a minute ago, and I think the only way I'm going to be able to get it out of here, detangling is not really an option at this point because of how tangled it is at the bottom. So I'm going to have to cut it in a few areas just to pull it out, and then we'll go from there.